Welcome back everybody to another Fallout 76 video. This video is going to be about the Junkie's Vanguards build. It is the second most powerful build in the game next to the Bloodied build in the current meta, but it has a fair amount of survivability. Now I apologize in advance, I do not have the build or equipment to give you guys a live demonstration. So this video will be a little bit drier. It'll be a lot more just hard data. So with that in mind, let's just jump into it. Alright, so this is what I came up with for a build guide for the Junkie's Vanguards build. We're going to go with 3 strength so we can use Traveling Pharmacy to reduce the weight of our chems, including stim packs. Our build is going to be built very much around, of course, the addictions necessary to power up the Junkie's weapons, and stim packs keeping our health up for the Vanguard's armor. In our perception, we went with 13. We had 1 point of concentrated fire because there's no point in having any more than that. The damage increase is only 1%. It is not worth an extra perk point for an additional 1% of damage. Then we went with 3 Commando, 3 Expert Commando, and 3 Master Commando to get our bonus 60% damage, and Tank Killer to get some armor penetration. We went with 2 in Endurance for Revenant, because in our Vanguard's build we are going to include a piece of life-saving armor, which gives us a 50% chance to come back from the dead when we're downed. So essentially, 50% of the time, we'll come back from being downed, and because of our perk cards, we will return almost immediately to full health and gain 50% more damage for 2 minutes. So if we go down, we come back to life, and we come back to life hard, beast mode, for 2 minutes. So whatever killed us is going to regret it. In Charisma, we're going with our customaries, essentially Strange in Numbers, because being in a team is basically an essential part of the game. Tenderizer, which is going to increase our damage after the first shot. Team Medic, which is going to help our teammates out. That's just mostly to be a good team member. Anytime one of our stim packs pops, for any reason, our teammates get the benefit of that. Field Surgeon, stim packs work faster, regenerates our health quicker. We're going for 8 in Intelligence, which is a little high, but we're going for 5 in Gunsmith, so our guns don't break down very quickly, and 3 in First Aid, so that our stim packs trigger at 45, or so that our stim packs restore 45% more health. This is going to keep us topped off all the time. We're going with Born Survivor level 3, which is going to trigger our stim packs way sooner to keep our health that much higher and keep our Vanguards that much higher. Sneak, of course, to help keep our damage output high with Covert Ops. Escape Artist to help us stay hidden should we get detected. Gun Fu will just let us bounce between targets a lot faster. Adrenaline for a minor damage bonus. I had a little bit of extra points to spend at the end here. And Through Hiker, this is personal preference. I cannot preach enough how incredibly effective stacking foods are. Almost every food gives you at least a half hour. Some give you an hour of a buff. So this allows us to carry a lot of buff items. AP refresh, damage resistance, energy resistance, stat bonuses, all kinds of wonderful experience bonuses, all kinds of wonderful additions through just being able to keep Through Hiker on, reducing that weight down to nothing. Luck, we're going with 10. Start Genes to keep our mutations going. Bloodied Mess for 15% more damage. Tormentor for crippling effect from our automatic rifles. And Class Freak level 2. Because I find a lot of value in Class Freak. The mutations are tremendous, and having the negative effects nerfed is a huge bonus. It's maybe the Class Freak may end up being low-key the most powerful card in the game, I think. Don't quote me, but I'm really high on it. So we're going to talk about the weapons next. So the Junkie's effect is for every addiction you have, you get plus 10% damage up to 50% damage bonus. So you only want to carry 5 addictions at a time. For the weapons, we're going to pick the primary 2 automatic rifles in the game, the Handmade or the Fixer. I personally tend towards the Fixer for the stealth bonus. Handmade does a little more damage. Make your own decisions there. Either way, we're going for the aligned long barrel, the aligned grip, the swift magazine, the suppressor, the reflex sight, and either the powerful automatic or the powerful automatic prime receiver. Those all reduce your AP costs so you can stay in VATS more often. The most powerful is going to be the fire rate increase with the VATS action point reduction. That's gonna, with the handmade or the Fixer, with those modifications that I mentioned previously, it literally costs negative action points to fire a weapon. You basically don't have to leave VATS. So don't. Just stay in VATS, deal tons of damage. It's going to be a good time. Second choice is going to be bullets explode with VATS action point cost reduction. It's still very good. There's nothing wrong with explosive weapons. Don't let anyone tell you differently. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still real good. Still real good. Next, we're going to go with VATS hit chance and VATS action points cost reduction. VATS hit chance is really nice. It lets you get them at range. It works really well with concentrated fire. You get them headshots from farther away, from reasonable distances, in my opinion. Without the huge benefit from the unyielding build, pumping 1,000,000 points into perception, it's a lot harder to get those VATS headshots without the VATS hit chance perk. So that's very nice. Don't let that go underrated. Excuse me. Some secondary ones, if you like your VATS crits, you want to go for your VATS critical shots do bonus damage, and your VATS critical meter fills 15% faster. Now, if you're going with this kind of build, if you really like your VATS crits, you're going to want to spec out into luck a little bit differently, probably pour some more points into there to get your VATS perk cards a little higher, your luck perk cards, your crits, your crit banker, that kind of thing. That's not a build that I'm getting into, but it is a viable option, more or less. If you are not a VATS user, I would look for the plus 10% while aiming and the move faster while aiming, and switch into a perforated magazine, a short scope, and make it a hardened, so a one-shot, and try to take him out on the first hit while still being fairly mobile and dodging a lot of bullets. Now onto the armor. We're going to talk about the... We're going to assume Brotherhood of Steel heavy combat armor. Gives us 226 energy, 226 damage resistance. A full set of Vanguards would give us an additional 175 to each, making it 401, which competes with power armor. I don't think that's the best loadout, but it's very good. In the loadout I recommend, we're actually going to sacrifice 70 damage resistance and energy resistance to get a lot more flexibility and damage out of our build. For the minor armor modifiers, we're going to want to look for 4 pieces of increased AP refresh and 1 piece with 25 poison resistance. The poison resistance is for the Scorch Beast Queen fight and is useless in almost every other scenario, but whenever she pisses all over the ground, if you don't have that poison resistance, it'll kill you real fast, so I cannot recommend that enough. You do want at least 1 piece with that, excuse me. For the minor armor modifiers, I'm going to suggest at least 1 piece of Harder Detect while sneaking. The effect from Harder Detect while sneaking does not stack, but it is cumulative. So the numbers are hidden, but let's say the first piece gives us 10% more, the next piece gives us like 5, and then the next piece gives us like 2% Harder Detect while sneaking. So you want to get at least 1 piece, you'll thank me. And then you want Sentinels for the rest, as much as you can get. For the armor modifiers themselves, modifications themselves, you're going to want Dense on your chest piece, of course, to negate the Scorch Beast blasts. It negates all explosive damage, basically, to 0. Not actually to 0, but damn near. You want stabilized arms for when you're free-shotting, when you're not using VATS. And you're going to want your ultralight legs for some bonus AP and reduced weight. Now, for the optional pieces, I suggest 1 piece of Chameleon. It's going to give you a fair amount more stealth. which of course is going to help you stay hidden longer, keep you alive longer, keep your health higher, all that good stuff, and increase your damage output through the covert op. And we're going to suggest one piece of life saving. That's going to combine with Revenant to make you a beast. If you go down, you're going to come back up, just chewing them up. And for the mutations, we're going to go with Egghead, Eagle Eyes, Bird Bones, Marsupial, Adrenal Reaction, Chameleon, Healing Factor, Speed Demon, Scaly Skin, Grounded, Empath, and Herd Mentality. This is a team-focused build, so all the team perk cards are going to be in there. You won't have to worry about Empath. I know a lot of people poop on it. It's really not that bad. You're throwing in Class Freak. It's going to negate the negatives. Your teammates are going to love you. It's worth it for everybody. Don't be that guy. Egghead's bonus intelligence, Eagle Eyes bonus crits, everything else you guys are probably familiar with. Healing Factor, since we're not using the chems for power-ups quite so much, then the healing, the health regen is going to be really nice to help keep us topped off there in between fights. And that's going to be it. I apologize for that abrupt cut there. But that's going to be it for our Junkies Vanguards build. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave a comment in below. I also take requests. If there's a video you'd like to see, please post that down below. Don't forget to tell someone you love that you love them. Remember that a dab will do you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.